putranya Amir?
Ya, Pak.
Siapa bilang saya minum kopi? Duduk. Jenderal di sini.
Ya, kerja sama ayahnya Papa. Kakek saya kerja untuk kakek Papa. Saya kerja untuk Papa.
Anakmu baik banget sama aku, Mir. Apakah bapak-bapak dan saudara-saudara mendukung? Mendukung? Yang keras!
Ayo, temenin.
Enggak, aku nggak ikut-ikutan dia.
Kalau dikepung di sini, jangan blokade panjang. Tenang.
Chills down my spine. Last December, Makbul Mubarak's Autobiography won the top prize at the Singapore International Film Festival Silver Screen Awards, continuing its award-winning spree since it first debuted at the Venice Film Festival in February. Now, since then, it went on to win many other prizes: the Asia Pacific Screen Awards, Golden Horse, Marrakesh, Q City, Jogja-Netpack, Stockholm, Tokyo Film Mix, and also, of course, the Indonesian Film Festival.
Wow, that's a long list already, and it hasn't even been released. Now, while screenings were previously limited to film festivals, this year it will finally see a theatrical release. And while anticipation is very high for this film, today we have the director, who is Makbul Mubarak, with us in the studio to talk more about this upcoming release. Good morning, Mas Makbul. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much, Makbul. It's so lovely to see you again, to meet you again 11 years after our first meeting in Berlin.
Berlin, yes.
At that
I
time,
remember that.
Makbul was actually a film critic and one of the Berlinale talents. And it's great to see this is your first film that you write and also you direct. And it's a very powerfully haunting and chilling film about a lot of things that is still happening in Indonesia at the moment. So tell us, what is Autobiography about?
So Autobiography is, I mean, on the level of the story, it's a very simple story. Very simple story about a humble housekeeper named Rakib, played by Kevin Ardelova, very promising young actor.
Yes.
Who worked as a housekeeper in an empty mansion belongs to a retired military officer named Purna, who one day comes back to the village after so many years, 18 years being in the capital. So he comes back to the village to run in the local election, like a very small scale election, and both sort of like form a very strange father and son intimacy, sort of, until one day, one very trivial incident foreshadows something like bad for both of them. So here the film changes into sort of like a suspense sort of mood.
Okay.
But it was a slow burn. You would like
Explains why you said haunting, because I was trying to figure out all this time what that means. We mentioned before we came on air that although the characters are fictional, a lot of this is drawn from what you use the word feel, like feeling. Can you explain more about that?
Yeah, so the film is very atmospheric. It relies a lot on the unsaid tension between two characters. So just with eyes or with like a little body languages. It inspires a lot by my childhood. I consider myself as sort of like a generation that was born in the later days of the New Order and grew up in the early days of the Reformation. So I sort of like grew up comparing what the two political style was.
You got to see both sides, basically.
Yeah. And my families, they were all public officials, civil servants for the regime back then, and still are. I mean, like some of them are retired now. So this is all like the film is an encapsulated feels of what I felt growing up between families who are working for the state. So there's always a very eerie feeling tension between respect, obedience, and sometimes fear.
Okay.
Yeah, those three teams: obedience, respect, and fear.
Yeah. So sometimes, like, is it? Do you do it because you love it, or do you do it because of an obligation, or do you do it because, you know? So there's this very thin sort of level where you can what is the real motivation behind all the things that
work
they do?
Yeah, that's true. How long did it take for you from writing the movie and then workshopping and trying to find the funding until the release of the film? Because I noticed everything was, for me, was just so perfect. You said that the movie is actually quite simple. The dialogue is very simple.
It is very simple.
But because of the simplicity of the dialogue, you encapsulate the essence of that sort of like the feeling.
Yeah.
And also the cinematography is amazing. I see that you're also collaborating with filmmakers from around the world.
Yeah.
Tell us about the process.
So the writing took us 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. I mean, like, we wrote while financing the film.
Wow.
So, you know, like, we wrote and then you know, try to finance it because if you wait until you're satisfied with your script, then it will take like longer.
Yes.
So we were ready to shoot in 2020, but then COVID happened, so we waited for another year. So we were kind of like, what should we do with the gap year?
Yes.
Because we cannot go out there and shoot.
Yeah.
So I spent more time with the actors. So we read the script over and over again for 2 years.
Wow.
So the characters also grow up in their mind because we read it for so long.
Right.
So like every 3 weeks we read it and then they go and shoot some other films.
Yes.
And after that we go back again and we're already a different person.
Yeah.
So in the end when we shoot, it's like 50% of the character comes from the script, but the remaining 50% comes from the life of the actors themselves.
The actors as
So
well.
they're very generous in you know, like putting their life on the screen as well.
How did you end up working together with a Polish cinematographer? And by the way, the pictures, I think because of the history and the political history of Poland as well,
Yeah.
he managed to really capture that sort of eeriness.
Yes, I mean, like, Poland is a colder country.
Yes.
So and then
Yes.
and I've always want to make a film in Indonesia, but that feels cold.
Yeah.
But our country is very warm. You know, the sun is yellow, and so that's why I was like, let's look for some cinematographer from the north. You know,
Yeah.
like from Russia, from Poland, and me and the producer, Julia, we happened to meet this wonderful cinematographer, Wojtek Staron,
Yes.
and we talk about the script, and he was like, oh, I'm kind of interested in this. I've never been to Indonesia. I don't know anything about the country.
Did you find similarities between the two countries in terms of politically and how people behave and?
No, it's very different.
Wow.
Yeah, apart from the flag that are upside down. We are totally different countries, but on a very human level. When we discuss about fear,
Yes.
the things from our childhood that, you know, like left unsaid, hence form a very subtle trauma inside us.
Yes.
On that level, we relate with, you know, a lot of people actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's also what makes the film quite appealing for the audience globally.
Right, internationally as well.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the script writing process. It was a process. Our team mentioned that you weren't happy with the first, right? There was a few rewrites in there. What were some of the things that changed throughout the process?
Subtlety. I think I started very bold because, like, I was younger. I want to say more. Like, I want to say more. I want to scream.
Okay.
And then, as I learn about the characters, as I investigate deeper emotionally into my own memory, then I realize I think the film would speak louder if it doesn't scream, if it just, you know, let you immerse in the world of the characters.
Goes back to what you were saying about simplicity. I mean, that's probably hitting harder than if you said a whole bunch of things and things get lost in what was being said.
Yes, and that's what I noticed very strongly, how I was discussing it with my husband after, and we had a pretty long discussion. That's why I slept late, because,
my God.
you know, it's a good sign.
That's how you know it's a good film.
Exactly, when you talk about it. And I just said, wow, you know, this film does not scream. This film does not try to
Not in your face.
cram
Yeah.
the dialogue, like as much dialogue to explain and to spoon feed the audience. The audience is made to feel with with very little dialogue, and that's just brilliant.
Yeah.
That's just brilliant.
You mentioned how this is drawing on your personal experience, but you were much younger back then too. You were a child.
Yes.
What did you learn throughout the process after the film was finally made? Did you learn anything new about those experiences that you experienced as a child? Were you able to understand those experiences more now that you've created Autobiography?
Yeah, I mean, like...
You yourself and your family.
Yes. They haven't watched it. I cannot wait for them to watch it. But the film itself is formed out of question. So the legacy of violence that we you know, like, inherit from the former generations.
Yes.
Can we break this? Can we break the cycle, or are we just like living in a perpetual cycle?
Yes.
This is a question that the film and myself cannot answer. The film doesn't answer it because I don't have the answer.
Right.
So I'm really hoping that after the film is out there, I will meet some audiences that, you know, like that would, you know, let us discuss about this, and I want to learn about these things. I don't have answers, but I think cinema can also be about questions.
Yeah, and the good ones create questions for you to discuss.
Yeah.
How do you think your family is going to react to it?
I mean, like this kind of people who have been living so long as a civil servant.
Yeah.
For them, it's a routine. You know, like all this living in obedience, and it's routine. It's a mundane thing. So I'm not sure how will they react, but probably not much. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's
what
how
it
it
is.
is.
Like, what's new?
Yeah.
Right.
Because it becomes normal.
Which
right?
tells a lot about our society.
That is so true. What was it like working with amazing actors like Arswendi Bening Suara, Kevin Ardelova, the late wonderful Gunawan Marianto?
Yes. These are generous people. They just want to give so much.
Yes.
Unfortunately, sometimes I say no to their contribution because
Well, you're the director.
because
you can say no.
It's not what the film is about. So my job is just to like keep bringing back the film on its own track.
For example, can you give us an example where, you know, I imagine probably Kevin, because I also know Kevin. He's very fiery, he's opinionated.
Yeah, like there's one time I remember Arswendi was actually like...
Arswendi?
Yeah. Can you make a scene, you know, after I do that thing, I will, you know, wash my hands with something red so it looks like blood. And I was like, no, this is not about the action of the violence itself. It's about what do you feel after the violence. It's about, the film is about an effect of violence. And you don't show it to the audience, but you make it happen in their head.
Yes, which is more effective.
Which is, this is what the film is about. And he was like, I'm not sure about that. And then when he watched it on the big screen and in Venice, and he came to me, that was the right decision. So, you know, like actors they work with generosity. Like they give so much of their own memory and emotion to a story that originally is not theirs. So it takes a lot of generosity, I would say, and working with the best actors.
Yes, Rukman Rosadi as well.
Rukman Rosadi, the late Gunawan Marianto. These are very like,
powerful. Powerful.
You mentioned COVID-19. Obviously, that was a huge challenge. What are some of the other challenges that you encountered while creating Autobiography?
I think because our team is comprised by people from many countries. Like the sound designer is from France, the sound editor is from Brazil, the cinematographer from Poland, the editor is from the Philippines. So it's really about, you know, creating a common ground. What kind of working culture are we doing here? Because like in Indonesia, we are used to shooting long hours.
Yes.
She knows all about it.
She knows all about that. And the Europeans, they're like, no.
Oh, we're a set schedule.
Is it 8 or 10 or 12 hours?
12 hours.
Okay.
12 hours from the hotel until we arrive back at the hotel.
Oh, so
all inclusive.
including
Yes,
the commute. Okay.
Yeah, while the Filipinos are, what is ours? so you know, all this balance we need to create because like there are 120 people on the set. Wow. So it's really about like understanding, and like Indonesians, when they work, they love to, you know,
play with their
Sure.
and for our Polish crew, it's rude for them.
Yeah. Of course.
You are on the set, so it's all like the first couple of days. It was like
Adjustment period.
yeah, and how for us as a production company to sort of like create an environment that is comfortable for all.
Absolutely.
Their best,
I can imagine.
Yeah, you know, it's like you create Autobiography. I cannot wait to watch your films in the future. But I'm sure, you know, you have recommendations of films that you can share with us. Maybe like 1, 2, or 3?
Oh, this year?
Yeah, this year.
Yeah, I've been traveling with Autobiography to a couple, you know, like film events this year. There are some films that really stuck with me.
Yes,
like,
that's good.
Yeah, very long after, like, oh, okay. so you know, like you're already like in the restaurant after the theater, but you are still like
thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me yesterday.
Thank you.
Like it's over. The movie's over. You can go home.
There's this film called After Sun, which I really like.
Yes.
So with Paul Mescal in it, the great Paul Mescal. So everything that happens in that film happens after the film ends, which is probably why it's called After. So. And the second one is Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh yes, with Colin
Farrell. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what else?
Anything local you're looking forward to?
I'm very looking forward to Virgo, actually.
Virgo.
Yes.
Oh yes.
I think I look at the trailer and it looks fresh.
It's fun.
Yes.
It's fun. It's from the Bumi Langit universe.
Ah,
yeah.
Okay, then I'm looking forward to it too.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of superhero teenagers who play in a band.
Yes.
Yes.
Isn't that fun? And they're girls.
Yes.
Woohoo!
So you've certainly set the bar very high for yourself.
Yes.
Obviously, we are all looking forward. Marissa had the privilege of watching it a bit early, but the rest of us get set for the release tomorrow.
Yes.
Here in Indonesia, nationwide release?
Nationwide.
All right,
A
well,
lot of theaters as well.
yes. So
Yes.
congratulations
Thank you
on
very
all
much.
the awards you've racked up so far, and we're certainly
Thank you.
all looking forward to see Autobiography, and good luck to you in your future
Yes.
endeavors as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Makbul.
Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you so much. All right, we're gonna have a break. Do not forget to catch Autobiography tomorrow, theater release in a lot of theaters in Indonesia, 19th of January. And we will still be back with other stories for you right after the break. Thanks, Makbul.
Terima kasih. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.